position. As a head girl, you were head girls prefect.
Yes,
You were
please.
sanitation prefect.
Yes, please.
So, what about your class? You didn't take up any. What about your church
No,
on
please.
campus?
No, please.
I see. Anyway, I'm not too convinced, but I'll come back to you. Your referees, you brought the name. I think their titles and departments should come before their email addresses and their phone numbers, because we have the name, the email address, and the number before the title and the department. It should be the other way around. So you got to look at that. I'll come back to you.
Thank you for the corrections, Prof. Chair.
Franklina,
Yes, sir.
you have an interesting CV. Let's talk about junior consultancy projects.
Okay, sir.
You said you led a team that created a tracking system.
Yes, please.
Tell us about it.
Thank you for the question, Prof. Chair. After we were done going through the junior consultancy training, the organization gathered some problems which are around us to solve. And then I led a team of 3 to work for the Student Financial Support Office Unit of UCC. Mrs. Grace Mensah, the head of the office, reached out to DigiCap that they have issues in tracking the progress of their alumni awardees. So my team and I came together and then we created an alumni tracking system for the office. Thank you very much.
So this tracking system tracks applications or awardees.
Thank you for the question, Prof. Chair. The tracking system seeks to find out the well-being of their awardees, find out how they are doing, ask if they are employed or unemployed, and also find out what's going on in their life, and they ask if there is any help they can give to them to help them improve on their living.
But what I have here is that you created a tracking system that tracks the applications.
No, Prof. Chair.
So you rather track the applicants.
Yes, please.
Between the two, which do you think would have been more prudent? Where people apply to Tvucc, Ucc, and then there's a tracking system where they can easily know where their applications have gotten to, progress of their applications, amongst many others. Because a lot of students complain that they apply and then they don't get feedback, they don't hear anything. And you know how nervy people can get under circumstances like that. Between this project and that project, if you were ranking, which do you think should have been topmost priority?
Thank you for the question, Prof. Chair. From my perspective, all the 2 are equally important. And my reason is that if someone applies for a program or for something, the person is supposed to see his or her status or how far the application has gone to. But I bear with the Office of Tvucc that they also want to find out how far the students who have been able to graduate, that is the awardees, have gone, in a sense that...
But the reason why we set up Tvucc is for people who have peculiar needs. And so if I am a student and I have a need and I have applied to that office and I don't know what is going on and I'm left in the wilderness, I'm wondering whether my application is receiving attention and all of that. I am asking this because you said you led the team. Yes. And so I am sure that you did a needs analysis before creating the system.
Yes,
between the two, I would have gone for something that would benefit the students in knowing the progress of their application, rather than those who have benefited from it. Those who have benefited from the program.
Yes.
What about those of us who have applied and we are left in limbo?
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. We received a complaint from Mrs. Grace Mensah that she wants to track the progress of her graduate awardees. However, we had a meeting with her to find out exactly what she wants us to do for her. And she was still insisting on finding about the progress of her graduate
Did you at any point in time advise that you think that the tracking system should rather look at applications rather than, or applicants rather than those who have benefited from it? Did you at any point do that?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. My team and I didn't change her decision. Rather,
Did you at any point do that?
no, please.
It means you were not thinking about your other colleagues. Is that the case?
Thank you, Prof. Chair.
Because you have an idea the total number of people who apply to the unit for sponsorship. And if, let's say, even a tenth or 100th of the university population applies, and then they have no idea the status of the application, nobody's telling them anything, they don't know whether they are going to be awarded or not. Don't you think that is a much bigger problem than tracking those who have benefited from it and probably have left school?
Thank you for the question, Prof. Chair. Prof. Chair, please. At junior consultancy, what we basically do is to look at the problems presented to us by clients or people who need solutions, and then we help them make informed decisions about the solution.
But in this case, you agree with me that this decision probably is not the best. So you didn't advise your clients properly.
Thank you, Prof. Chair.
As a team leader, I was expecting you to advise the clients that, okay, before we look at those who have benefited, let's look at those who are applying and see.
Thank you,
Do I
Prof.
take it
Chair.
that you didn't do a good work, you and your team?
Thank you, Prof. Chair. Please don't take it like that. But
Okay.
upon interactions with Mrs. Grace Mensah, she told us painstakingly that she wants to handle the issue of her graduate awardees before she moves to the current students too.
I still insist that your team didn't do a good job. Anyway, that is just by the way.
Thank you, Prof. Chair.
Because in the needs assessment, you have to prioritize and then focus on those who are currently in school. They are the ones that need the help. That is the reason why the office was set up. So if you are preferring solutions, the solutions should be targeted at those who need the help, not those who have gotten the help anyway.
Thank you.
Now,
Prof. Chair.
in your CV, business intelligence facilitator, creating Power BI dashboards, and then you coached 8 trainees in UCC DigiCap business intelligence training. Tell me about Power BI.
Thank you, Prof. Chair. Power BI is a tool that is used to visualize data in one glance. Power BI helps you to see all your data in one glance in the sense that it categorizes the data in various charts, and then it provides slices for you to read through to find the explanations of the data or the dynamisms of the data.
And how proficient are you in using Power BI?
Thank you, Prof. Chair. I am an intermediate with Power BI.
An intermediate.
Yes, please.
So how do you intend to translate that to the student body as a whole?
Thank you, Prof. Chair. As an intermediate in Power BI dashboard, I will translate this to the student's body as a whole by knowing the various dynamisms of students, or as a coordinating secretary, I will translate this to the student's body as a whole by determining the number of people who attend a meeting, the time they came, whether they came early or they were late, the various categories according to programs, and then gender. Thank you very much.
So how do you intend to teach the rest of the student population to at least gain some basic knowledge in Power BI? Would you advocate that we include that as a core course, or how do we call it? An elective for students?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. From my perspective, Power BI can either be a core course or an elective course, determining or based on the decisions made by the university. Because I believe that the world is...
Would you recommend that? the decision will be based on your recommendation. So as someone who is an intermediate who's benefited from it, who is training other students, I'm sure you have seen the relevance of this application.
Yes, please.
Would you recommend that every student gains at least intermediary knowledge in Power BI usage? If yes, why? If no, why?
Thank
And
you,
if
Prof.
yes,
Chair.
I want to know how you'd want to implement such a project.
Thank you, Prof. Chair. Please, my answer is yes. And how in ITS, since ITS and Power BI dashboards are interrelated.
So would you push for that? Should you get the nod to be the SRC coordinating secretary? That's what I want to hear, that you would want to lead that charge with the SRC, that the university should consider introducing this as part of the ITS.
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. I would gladly push for the nod.
Okay, so I'm sure the entire UCC students have heard you. Should you get the nod, we'll hold you to your words.
Prof. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Prof.
We'll
Chair,
make
please.
progress and we'll come back.
I want to say something.
You want to say something?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Prof. Chair, please. DigiCap is based on campus, located at the last floor of NLT. And currently, they have handed over the whole training to the University of Cape Coast. So as it stands now, people are getting the opportunity to learn Power BI dashboard. So it's already worked. But however, if I become the coordinating secretary, I'll try to organize a program, or I will organize a program to invite students to come.
I thought the agreement was that it should be part of a general curriculum. It should be a core course for everybody. Since from your explanation, we are in a tech world and everybody would want to hire somebody with at least some tech knowledge. So if you become the SRC coordinating secretary and you take this as a project such that every single student in the University of Cape Coast learns at least about Power BI, even at the intermediary stage, I'm sure that will be fine. You want to train some people, your friends, those who went to school in Accra with you.
No.
Don't you think the entire university population should benefit from this?
Prof. Chair, everyone has to benefit.
Everyone has to benefit.
Yes,
so we'll hold you to your words should you get the nod. Thank you.
Prof.
We'll
Chair.
make progress and come back.
Thank you, Prof. Chair.
Franklina,
Yes, please.
so aside the maintenance of order and the provision of security to support UCC Src
Prof. Chair,
program,
please, can you speak up a bit?
so aside the maintenance of order and the provisions of security to support SRC programs, can you outline two functions of the UCC Cadet Corps?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. One core responsibility of the UCC Cadet Corps is to ensure that there is serenity or peace on campus. I believe that the UCC Cadet Corps are located in every hall of affiliation. So at their various posts, one core functions of them is to ensure that there is peace and serenity at their various posts. And then, Prof. Chair, when it comes to programs, they are supposed to ensure that all concerns pertaining to violence are being seized, or they are supposed to ensure that everything concerning peace is in order. Thank you very much.
You had my question right. I said that aside the maintenance, so apart from they maintaining peace and order and providing serenity, as you said, what are the core or other functions that they perform as stipulated in the UCC Src Constitution?
Do you get a question? So aside the maintaining peace and order, what other functions do they have?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. I believe that the Cadet Corps can help other students know about the do's and don'ts of the university. Thank you, Prof. Chair.
Okay, so as stipulated in the UCC Src Constitution, they are to assist in cleanup exercise within and outside the university. and they mount joint parade during congregations and other UCC SRC programs. So what you gave us was totally out of the box, but you attempted. So that's a good try.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Franklina,
Yes, please.
listen to your question very well.
Okay.
In terms of confidential information from the SRC, how would you handle them in the administrative role?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. Please, in terms of confidential information from the SRC, how I will handle them is that I am going to state on the particular document that that document is confidential. However, if it's addressed to someone, I will write boldly the full name of the person on that document.
I think you didn't get the question. How you keep confidential information? How are you going to keep them?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. Please, can you give me more clarification? So try break down your question for me.
Okay, listen well.
Okay.
Let's take it like you have this information that is within the SRC. It shouldn't go outside the SRC. Okay. How are you going to keep such information or reports?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. How I am going to keep the report is such that I'll file it in my confidential file.
Okay. It's a good attempt, but not what I was looking for. So, by strictly adhering to confidential policies and maintaining secure systems for storing and accessing sensitive information.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Franklina,
Yes, please.
as the SRC coordinating secretary, you also serve as the planning and organizing committee chair. So, as the planning and organizing committee chair, can you outline some of the processes in planning an event?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. As the planning and organizing committee chairperson, if I want to organize an event, I will write a letter to the Office of the Dean of Students stating why I would want to organize the meeting and also giving out the benefits the students would derive from the meeting I am going to organize. And then I'll wait for a response with a budget. Thank you.
Like, I think you didn't understand the question. Like, planning an event. Let's say you are going to have maybe, let's say, a seminar. Let me use that as an example. So how are you going to plan towards that seminar? I hope you get the question now. Let's say you've discussed the event with your committee, the executive board. You've acquired all you followed every procedure that you're supposed to follow. So now you are planning the event. How would you plan the event?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. Though the coordinating secretary is the head of the planning and organizing committee, but I can't do everything on my own, so I will liaise up with my committee members and other SRC executives to ensure for the success of the program.
Okay, like that wasn't what I was expecting from you. I don't know if you didn't understand the question, but this was what I was expecting. Like, you need to know the purpose of the event, the estimated budget for the event, the venue for the event, either physical or online, okay. And then also choosing the date and time for the event. I hope you understand.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
So you didn't get it right, but you made an attempt.
Thank you.
Okay. Franklina.
Yes, please.
Do you know about special general meetings?
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you know the requirement?
Sort of, please.
So what is the requirement?
Thank you, Prof. Chair, for the question. A special general